In this Discovery Live tutorial, we'll walk through creating a part from scratch, setting up a simulation, and making edits to the part to see how geometric changes can impact max stress and deformation, both covered in more detail in additional tutorials. From the Welcome screen, we can start a new document, or the same can be done from the File menu. A new design in Discovery Live starts you off in sketch mode through the XY plane, and from the left we can choose one of our sketch tools. You can hover over it to get more information. With the rectangle tool, we can click to start our rectangle. Notice that I can type in dimensions, or I can simply click with my mouse to finish that rectangle. From here, I could still edit the dimensions, just typing in a value or using the Tab key to switch between them. I could add one or many sketch shapes to my design, but when I'm done, I want to use the Pull tool to select the sketch I created and drag to pull it into a solid. I could drag up or down, and when I let go, I can also type in a value. If I want to add to the design, I can simply select a face or any planar reference and create another sketch. If I want to look directly at my sketch plane, we have a set of buttons in the lower right that will allow me to spin the model to a heads-up plan view. I can add different shapes to the model, typing in dimensions as I go. I can dimension things in different ways using tools that work with existing sketch entities in order to get the precise dimensions that I need. When I'm done sketching, I can click P for pull. That will bring us back to 3D. Notice that we have two different closed regions, and I can select one or both and simply drag to turn that into a solid. I could type in a dimension to snap to a certain value, or when I click on this face, notice there's this menu of common commands. One is called up to, and that allows me to snap these faces together. In addition to pulling surfaces, I can also pull this line I sketched out. When I pull a line, it turns into a surface. That edge of the surface can also be pulled up to the other side of the existing solids. If I select this face and drag to pull, it'll thicken it in one direction or another, merging these bodies together. If I don't like that operation, I can click undo in the upper left, and when I click on this face, I can override thickening it in one direction and pull it symmetrically in both directions. There's still a face left over from the sketching. I can select and delete that. And here we have an extra face or set of faces from the way I sketched that line. Well, I could do a few things. I could pull these faces to change where they are, or if I select all three by holding down Control, one of the edit tools called Fill is like a magic eraser. It takes the selected faces, removes them from the model. Now that we have this model created, let's go ahead and create a solution. We can choose between a few different ones. We'll do a structural analysis. We can choose from different materials and create the solution. Now I can go ahead and select faces, and you'll notice from a drop-down there are a number of different boundary conditions I can set up. If I want to pick a hidden face, I could hover my mouse over where I think it is, scroll the mouse wheel up one, and click to select that hidden face. Here we'll go ahead and put a fixed support on the bottom face there, and on the hole through the cylinder we'll go ahead and apply a force in the X direction of 10 newtons and hit enter, and we'll immediately see some results. The results shown are von Mises stresses, but from the menu down here we can go ahead and change to a variety of other stresses, including deformation and a few other rendering methods which are covered in other tutorials. The best way to display the deformation is with this button down at the bottom here, and from this menu we can either set a exaggerated deformation or a true to scale deformation, and here we could see it's deforming almost half of a millimeter, which in this case is probably too much. We want to explore how some design changes impact the performance of the model, so we can set up a few charts. For example, the max von Mises stresses on either a face or the volume of the model. We'll go ahead and create that over here. We can also create additional ones like max deformation on the entire model, and we can go ahead and drag that to a different location. If we want a more advanced chart, we can choose from this menu different stresses, for example, maximum principal stress, different operators, different entities, points, faces, all of them of volume, etc. And we can go ahead and create and drag and separate those over here. In exploring different design changes, we could either add them all to the model and see how the overall performance increases, or we can add them, undo, add another, and see how those individual changes impact the performance. Either way, we're going to want to turn off the deformation down here, and we'll be using our pull and or move tool to create these edits. I can select this face and simply drag. I can let go at a near rounded value. We'll see the change on the model, and we'll also get an additional design point. Now I don't have to drag. I can select a face, type in a number. We'll get an updated result and an updated design point in the tree. Now from here I could undo both of these, and I could try just changing one side. I can undo and try out other changes to the model. Pulling these faces up, changing the size of the cylinder, or I could try adding something new to the model. If I select the face in the front, hold Control and scroll my mouse wheel to the face on the back and select that, I can create a sketch through the middle of our part. I'm going to snap to the center of the circle, down to this corner, over to the other edge, back up, and I'm also going to create a vertical line down the center so that I have two halves. If I go ahead and turn on my pull tool, you'll notice that I have a face I can pull on this side and a face I can pull on this side. If I drag to pull, it'll thicken it in one direction or cut in the opposite direction. If I hit escape, I can cancel this command. I can click on this face and choose whether I wanted to add in both directions or cut. Or I can also turn on an option that allows me to pull symmetrically in both directions, either letting go or typing in a value. I can undo that and explore how adding a rib on the other side would impact the model. And since I already have a design point of 1, I could add both and see how that compares. From here, I can try out other design changes, and I can easily select things from the selection menu by selecting one object, using this panel to find similar objects like faces of the same area, and adding material on all together at different increments. I can use this to search for the different faces of the rib if I want to try out different thicknesses here. Or if I undo that and I switch to our Move tool, the Move tool allows me to select a group of things. In this case, I'm dragging a box around those faces. I can then pick a direction and drag with my mouse to move these. Pulling offsets while Move translates. If I hold down the Control key while moving, it'll make copies. Like Office, where holding Control while dragging files around makes copies. I'm going to add additional detail by searching to find similar edges and adding rounds. Pulling on faces offsets while pulling on edges creates rounds. Notice how we can track the results regardless of the design change we make. Thank you for watching, and for more information or helpful tutorials like this, please visit ansys.com/discovery.